Hey everyone, welcome back to Mr. Holland's Classroom, where today we are doing Chapter 11, Lesson 9 of My Math, and we're talking about shapes still. So, this is about modeling shapes in the real world. So, let's talk about it. It won't take too long because I want you guys to really do a lot of exploring. So, okay, this matching game, easy peasy. How can we use shapes in the real world? Looking at the bow shown, what shapes make the object? Well, let's see. So we have a triangle, rectangle, rectangle, rectangle. They use small rectangles on here. I couldn't modify the size, but you get the point. And you can make boats however you want because, a trapezoid would be a really good shape to use. I don't have a trapezoid, but trapezoid basically looks like this. You could take three triangles and you tip them like that and put it like that. But I know that is like a rhombus. Don't worry, I'm making it. So like that. That would be a good base for a boat, wouldn't you say? That looks like a boat shape. That's a trapezoid. So that would be a good one. Three different ways to use shapes to make the buildings. Okay, well, there's obviously the tower structure. And then if you put a trapezoid and you put these honeycombs together, I know they're called hexagons, but they're a honeycomb shape. If you put them together, you make interesting towers, but also, really simply, if you want to just be basic, you could do this. A house and a roof. Yeah, I wouldn't go with that one normally, but, hey, it also looks like an arrow, actually. Let's go on to the next thing and see what they want. Okay, so now this is where you're at with your page. We're talking about shapes in the real world, of course, and as you see, this rocket ship has some shapes that we would use, but they want you to make a new shape. So obviously you can make what you want, but like if you took like this rectangle with a square underneath on the side, and you like did that, like a little bit of playing around, you can do some pretty crazy things. Like, what if I did like this? Now, looks kind of like a windmill. You see? You ever see those windmills when you're driving down the highway? They have big windmills. Yeah. So, like, that's an example of something you do. You could do it with anything you want. And I know, obviously, the colors aren't the same, but make your own shape. Check it out. Take a picture. I wouldn't try to stack them though because they'll fall over. So do it on your table like you're making a picture. Try that. Okay, so they want you this time to copy the shapes that they have. So obviously, with this one, we don't have any like rectangle pieces. So we're going to have to come up with a solution. So obviously, you can use a triangle. That one we know. And then we have, I mean, we have a rectangle right now, but you guys might not have a rectangle in front of you. So the way to go past that is you can use two squares. If you use two squares, it makes a rectangle, but squares are bigger, so you can make a bigger rectangle. All right, now they want to do the same thing with the car. And I'm actually not going to use shapes. I'm actually going to draw it because if you don't have shapes, drawing is a good option for you. So I'm going to make the square and then another square. And I'm actually going to do it apart so you can see all the pieces. Sometimes they'll be like, oh, it's just a square and two wheels. It's like, well, actually, there's two squares there. There's a rectangle and two wheels. But when you put it all together, yeah, it does look like one big square. But I'm putting them apart so you can see all the pieces. Okay. So that's where we got with that. So, yeah. And then you can, if you know how to spell the words, you can do that. You can spell them out and everything. But obviously, if you don't have it in front of you, you might not know what to do. So just make sure you use those shapes. All right. So what other shapes in this are in the picture on the guided practice do we use? So we can use a bunch of other shapes to do different things. And I'm not going to, go into everything else because that's kind of your work. But keep in mind, just because one person does it one way does not mean that you're doing it wrong. if you do it your way and you see that it works, like instead of using a rectangle, if you use two squares to make a rectangle, or if you don't have a hexagon, so you use six little triangles to make a hexagon, or even two trapezoids or whatever, then you can make it work. You don't have to use the same thing. It all works. One rectangle and two squares together is the same thing. So be creative, think on your feet, do crazy things, and I will see you later. Bye, everybody.